Hello, welcome students and faculty and staff if you're here as well. This is our Transfer Tuesday webinar and we will be getting started. There is a note in the thing about if you have any questions, go ahead and share that in the chat. I'd like to quickly introduce two people and myself. So the first person is Amy McKee. She's a UH Manoa transfer specialist. She's also the KEA bridger, I call her. She bridges students from the community college to UH Manoa. Jordan Luton, she's our online counselor at Leeward Community College. So she works with a lot of our student learners who prefer to do courses online, specifically the 5-week accelerated courses. And I'm Laurie Labarios, and we're very happy to have you here today. Today we are going to have the School of Ocean, Earth, Science, and Technology, Ms. Heather Saito. She'll be speaking on that school. And then we'll have some Q&A, and then we'll transition to natural resources and environmental management with Dr. Travis Idle. Before we begin, I'd just like to have Amy share a few words about the KEA program.
Thank you so much, Laurie, and aloha to everybody, and mahalo for joining us today. We are so excited to have you and would like to share with you folks some information about UH Manoa. So UH Manoa was founded in 1907 and is considered a land, sea, space, and sun grant institution. We offer over 100 undergraduate degrees for you to choose from, as well as many graduate and professional degrees, including law, medicine, business education, social work, and engineering. We are the flagship campus in the University of Hawaii system and are a highly ranked Research 1 institution, NCAA Division I school, and we strive towards being a native Hawaiian place of learning. If you are thinking about transferring to UH Manoa within the next 1 to 2 years, we'd love for you to consider joining the KEA program. The KEA program is a partnership between the community colleges and UH Manoa, and we have transfer specialists at each of the community college campuses to help students with transferring smoothly and efficiently to Manoa. In addition, we provide proactive academic advising. We waive the $70 application fee and $200 tuition deposit. You get the option to take UH Manoa classes if you'd like to, and we give the students the ability to register early when they transfer to Manoa. I'll go ahead and put some more information into the chat. But yeah, this program is free to join and open to any community college student who has at least 24 transferable credits, at least a 2.0 GPA, and who has at least one more semester remaining at the community college. So if you are thinking of transferring to Manoa for next year, spring 2022 or fall 2022, we'd love for you to join the program. The deadline to join is this Thursday, April 15th. So please let me know if you are interested.
So Travis, are you ready? Would you like to go ahead and get started with your presentation?
So
Okay.
thanks, Heather. It's a great intro to experiential and research and the sciences and things. So really just kind of building off of that a little bit with my presentation. So I got a really short presentation for all of you because I just really wanted to focus more on the questions you guys have about the Interim Department or transferring and things like that. So real brief here, but a little bit about the Natural Resources and Environmental Management Department. I'm now the department chair, but I was served as the head of the undergraduate advising program for a number of years and still on that committee. So I'm happy to share a little bit about our program. So a little bit of basics. Our undergraduate enrollment, we are a department within the College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources. So Heather mentioned that UH is a land grant, space grant, sea grant college or university. CTAR is the land grant part of that, of the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So currently our undergraduate enrollment, there really is no one number. Students are coming and going every day, but it's about 125 undergraduate students. And our instructor-student ratio is about 12-to-1 right now. Most of the students in the NREM program are actually transfers from another major at UH Manoa, from another UH campus like the community colleges, or from another university. We had about 25 or 30 new students start in the fall of last year. Maybe 10 or 11 of those you would actually consider to be truly freshmen. In other words, they had 0 college credits or fewer than 15 or 20 college credits. So many students find NREM after starting college, either at UH Manoa or somewhere else. About 25 to 30% of our students are out of state, and about 15 to 20% of our students identify as Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. So we're a diverse group of students and try to really provide opportunities for them to pursue diverse interests and activities. So we are a Bachelor of Science major as well as the majors in SOAST are, and really all of the majors within CTAR and the various academic programs here are also BS degrees. Ours is perhaps a little different because we have two pathways within the major. One of those focuses on natural science topics and skills. The other focuses on social science. So it is still a BS degree, but you can pursue social science areas as part of your skill development or specialization. So as a Bachelor of Science degree, we do have a common core of science, mathematics, economics, and statistics. So these are mostly just introductory level courses. Then we do have a common core of NREM classes that cover topics that we want to make sure all of our majors have some knowledge and skill in. So that includes basics of sustainability science, natural resource management and policy and governance, imaging and spatial data analysis, for example, remote sensing and geographic information systems. It's just a skill that is so important with natural resource management now that we want all of our students to have some knowledge and skills in that area. And then as a senior, you'll take our kind of senior environmental problem solving or decision-making course. It's kind of a guided project course that all of our seniors take. So rather than having you do a thesis as you might do in the GES program, we have all of our students engage in this kind of capstone course of environmental problem solving and decision making. So within the major though, you can choose an area that you'd like to specialize in based on kind of general topics. And so I've listed some of these here, such as plant ecology and conservation or wildlife ecology conservation, soil and water conservation or watershed management, image and data science, which would be related to things like GIS and remote sensing. Those are more on the natural science side. On the social science side, there are things like environmental policy and governance, community resource management. Communities can do a lot to help manage the natural resources in their communities surrounding them, not just rural, but also urban communities. And we also have a kind of a newer area in sustainable systems and communities. So that's an area we're all kind of exploring and developing together. So the major has a lot of common courses that everyone needs to take. But as I mentioned, as you kind of get to that junior level to senior level, you'll really be allowed or able to specialize in an area that interests you. So we focus on experiential learning and applying that classroom knowledge to real world challenges. And that can be done in a variety of ways. All of the students in interim have to do an internship experience. And this is pretty much what it sounds like. This would be an external, often it's an external experience like a summer opportunity where you get to learn about the various kinds of topics that you would get in the classroom, natural resource management, policy, governance, other kinds of things. And as I mentioned, we also have that senior capstone class where you learn about kind of the process of tackling an environmental problem. How do we approach it? How do we come up with solutions? How do we make good decisions on that? We also promote undergraduate research and scholarship for sure. So we have worked with the UH Mānoa honors program to develop a pathway through our major that also allows you to meet the requirements of the honors program. So exceptional students can go through the honors program without having to take additional credits than they would need to get their NREM major. We definitely have faculty who mentor students in research projects, including the what we call UROP, which is the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program. And so that provides mentorship and funding for undergraduate research and scholarly activities. And we also have some grant-funded fellowships for students in NREM and related majors to engage in research or internship type experiences. So we definitely try to promote that for our students. There's no thesis requirement with NREM, but many of our students engage in a lot of experiential types of opportunities as part of their undergraduate experience. So advising and support. So advising in our department is shared between the college. So at the CTAR level, we have academic advisors who focus on general academic advising for interim students. And then once you've kind of chosen that area you want to specialize in, we'll assign you a faculty member who has some experience or expertise in that area to help you with things like choosing those upper division electives that are within the major, helping you find internship opportunities, explore different career pathways or graduate school. So that's the part of the advising that the NREM or the NREM department itself provides for our students. One thing that's new now is we have developed what's called NREM undergraduate leads. These are a couple of students who are NREM majors, one in the natural science pathway, one in the social science pathway. Their purpose is to help build a sense of community for NREM undergraduates. We don't have an undergraduate club or student organization specific to NREM. There are a number of those at the college level that engage NREM and other students in the college, but we don't have anything specific for NREM majors. So I felt like this would be a way to provide a sense of community, to provide some peer advising and support, as well as kind of a forum for students to share experiences, answer questions, just help each other out with the process of being an NREM undergraduate, choosing courses and all kinds of things like that. So there's a quick video that they've put together to introduce themselves. So I'd like to share that with you at this time. You may not be hearing the music here, but hopefully you can get the captioning from the students. All right, so hopefully we're able to, if we weren't able to, oops, hang on. Okay, sorry, get back to my presentation here. So hopefully you're able to at least get the captions on that if we weren't able to get all of the audio on that. So this is kind of how we were hoping to help build that sense of community and basically peer advising and support. So if you want to learn more about our department or about the college, I certainly encourage you to see the CTAR academics page, because there's lots of different majors in the college. And again, we have a good academic and student affairs office that provides a lot of support for students. I want to move to our NREM department just to spend a little bit of time on our website, because I think there's a lot of good information we've tried to present there and provide for students. So a few pictures here tell a little bit about the program. So we do have some fellowships for students at graduate school. So NREM has both bachelor's, master's, and PhD level degrees. Our students, again, get their hands and feet dirty. This is actually a community resource management class, and they're actually out in the field sort of learning about that. Research and scholarship is a big part of what we do. And undergraduates definitely can be involved on independent projects or supporting our graduate students and faculty in their research as well. Of course, as we mentioned, it's not just natural science, it's social science. And so ecosystem services and how those can be evaluated and quantified is a big part of our department. And as I mentioned, spatial data analysis is just a critical way that we are able to capture and understand data and resources in natural resource management. So soil health is a new area that we are developing programmatic expertise in. So that's something we're hoping to promote. And we also have a lot of students interested in wildlife ecology and management. And so there's lots of opportunities for students to get involved in that from experiences as well as from research projects. And so lots of different ways you can get involved in the department, different ways that you can explore your interests. So we do have a nice undergraduate page. It's got lots of information, especially for those who are thinking about transferring over to NREM. And so I don't want to get too much into all of this. There's lots of things here, but a couple of things just to note if you are interested in transferring, of course, is that obviously there's the UH, or Hawaii has the transfer credit database that we certainly recommend you look at what classes you've taken now and how they might come over into an NREM major. Obviously, if it's the same course number and name, it's going to come over pretty much the same. We do allow for course substitutions. So if you took a class that is similar to something that we would require in NREM, you can always petition to have that considered as a substitute for the actual NREM course, because there's going to be a chemistry class at Leeward. There's not going to be an NREM class necessarily at Leeward Community College. That said, NREM does offer some courses during the summer period. So we offer our basic applied calculus class, which is a requirement. The Introduction to Sustainability Science class is now offered during the summer. That's a requirement. We also have the statistics course. If you feel comfortable with your mathematics, we do also teach the NREM statistics class, another requirement for the major. So we have some things that Leeward Community College students can take before they get here to help prepare for transferring into the NREM major. Other kinds of things, you know, I'll just leave this page up. And if you have specific questions, we can refer to some things here to provide some of the answers that hopefully you might have. So with that, I just really want to open it up and just see what questions students may have at this point.
That was great, Travis. Thank you so much. We actually did have a question pop in as you were kind of finishing that last portion there. And so one of the students attending is noticing some similarities maybe and some overlap, right, between the SOAS programs and the NREM. So I think when we're looking at students that want to go into something to do with sustainability and environmental concerns, how can a student decide which program is best fit for them? Travis, you want to go first, and then Heather?
Sure. Yeah, just reach out to us and ask. I think it's just a conversation is the best way to do it, because really it's just too much information to try to digest all at once. And so it helps us to get to know you a little better. And so for transfer students, or students interested in transferring, Dr. Mahealani Kaneshiro, she's the head of our undergraduate committee and program right now. She is the one who meets with students when they're interested. So you can definitely meet with our CTAR, our college academic advisors, but if you want to know really about NREM, reach out to her. and she'll have a conversation with you to get a sense of what you're interested in, what you're, would like to pursue, how that can be addressed or met within the NREM program. And that way, hopefully you get a better feel of what the NREM program is about.
Great. Heather, did you have any thoughts on that question?
I agree with everything you said. I think it's about, finding the program that's right for you and what you're interested in. There is crossover. And I think that's one of the reasons why we want to highlight that there are multiple science degrees you can get at UH that are in different departments. So there's more than one person you need to talk to as you try and figure out which one is the right fit for you.
That's great.
I'll just add one little small thing is that a lot of because we have so many specialization areas in NREM, there's no way we can offer all the courses what students would need at that kind of that upper division level. And so we certainly allow students and encourage them to explore other programs and departments to take some of those electives. And that certainly would include some of the academic departments in SOAST as well.
Thank you. And then Dr. Idle, I'll ask kind of a similar question that I asked Heather earlier is, could you talk a little bit more about your grad programs with NREM and, do you recommend students get their bachelor's in NREM, then go into the master's or PhD afterwards, or is it also a good fit for people who are exploring in their bachelor's and then specialize later? Oh, Dr. Idle, I think you're on mute still.
Okay, so we do have a graduate program. We've got a page here. And so we have actually 3 different graduate degrees. We have a Master's of Science, which is kind of typical one research degree. We have a Master's of Environmental Management as well, which is a little bit more of a professional type degree. So it's you will do a project at the end, but it's not a thesis. And then of course we have the doctoral, the PhD as well. The easiest thing for NREM bachelor students who want to go on to a master's program in NREM is, of course, you've taken all of the basic courses you need to enter the graduate program. And so that's the one thing that sometimes students coming outside of UH or outside of NREM certainly may have some basic, what we call deficiencies, or just courses they need to make up. Because again, as I mentioned in the presentation, you've got to have, we want students to have basic sciences, mathematics, even economics, so that when they start in NREM, the same interdisciplinary kind of approach that we take at the undergraduate level, we want to also see that reflected at some degree at the graduate level as well. But that said, we have, the graduate program accepts students from all over the world, from many different kinds of backgrounds. So that is also an advantage, is because we have so many different areas that undergraduates can specialize in. It means we have faculty who represent and have expertise in these different areas. And so our graduate population also can represent students who come from a lot of different backgrounds and majors.
Thank you so much. And then I have another question. Oh wait, actually, before I go to that question, is NREM going to have a BAM program in the future? Have you folks started exploring that yet?
We have started exploring it actually with the GES program in SOAST. And so we're really very intrigued by that possibility. And I think where we are right now is we're trying to work internally on figuring out what a 4+1 would mean for our NREM students. So we'd like to make sure that any BAM program that we develop, that our own NREM undergraduates can participate in that. So we're kind of on hold right now because with the pandemic and the hiring on freezing faculty and other positions, we feel like we need to make sure we can get through that so we can expand our instructional capacity a little bit so we can take on more students. Our Masters of Environmental Management program has been pretty popular. And so we just really need to make sure we don't invite everyone in and then we don't have the courses and the faculty to help support them. So we're hoping in a year or 2 that we can get back to exploring that. But yeah, GES would be one of the earliest programs that we would probably partner with to develop a BAM.
Oh my gosh, that's super exciting to hear. Thank you for giving us a little sneak peek. And then also students, if you have questions, feel free to add them into the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep thinking of some stuff. But one question I did have that I get a lot from students is how do students usually choose between the different pathways between natural science and social science when they're picking NREM?
Yeah, so some of the intro level courses, and I believe India may have mentioned one or two of those, like NREM 192 or 251, they introduce students to a broad range of topics and areas that NREM covers. And so from the very beginning, we want students to be thinking about what areas they would like to really focus on. And so we give them exposure to that fairly early on. But once you start taking like 200 and 300 level NREM courses, you'll really start to get a little bit deeper into some of the areas of natural resource management or policy. And so at that point, we expect students to be able to make a better and more firm decision as to which pathway they want to choose. Because once you get to kind of that sophomore to junior level, at that point, you now start freeing up room in your schedule to taking upper division, 300, 400 level courses, which could count as electives towards your specialization area. So if we see you haven't chosen a specialization area yet, and you're taking one of our 300 level courses that can help you make that decision, we'll reach out to you to see where you are and to help you make that decision if you haven't figured it out yet.
Thank you. I think that's most of my questions. So I'll pass the mic to Jordan if you have more questions.
I'm always curious about what your alumni are doing, right? After they graduate, are most of them going into research kinds of opportunities, education, nonprofit work? But for both of you, I think I'd just like to hear if you can highlight some recent alums and what they're up to.
Yeah, well, the answer for NREM is yes to all of those. It kind of reflects just the diversity of our background, our students. A lot of them do end up going to graduate school, maybe not right away, but after a few years of some professional experience. We have a fair number who work for government agencies that do natural resource management. A lot of the resources, the big important resources that are managed are done at the public, right, at the public level, wildlife, forests, waters. Often these are public resources, and so it's public agencies who do the work. But definitely nonprofits. So Hawaii has a number of really active nonprofits who are engaged in resource management, conservation, often in partnership with government agencies. And so we have a number of students who work for them. But we also have students scattered among all kinds of different companies, a lot of small private companies that do environmental assessments, or do innovations for resource management or planning and design. And so our students also fill those kinds of roles as well. So I'll let Heather jump in here with, she wants to talk about what their graduates are doing.
Sure thing. A lot of the same. I would say that it's public or private sector because all the government agencies like NOAA, National Weather Service, I guess USGS, the United States Geological Society, they all need people who are in our majors and have science degrees. I'm glad you started showing websites. I'm going to show ours real quickly. So on our prospective students website, we have a link to say, what can you do with a degree in SOIST? As well as we have a short little alumni brochure that kind of tells you where some of our current alumni currently are and the different public and private sector jobs that they have within Hawaii, as well as the mainland or internationally. And so there are a ton of companies. There's not just one company that you have to go and work for once you graduate in. So these are some helpful resources for you to be able to take a look at. Websites are definitely great places with a lot of information. And these days, we've been updating our websites to include a lot of information that can help students. So that GES video I showed earlier is up here. Atmo 200 is a course that our GES and Atmo students take. And so it really shows you how to launch weather balloons and get that hands-on experience that we've been talking about to have those in-person classes. And I think it really is the experiences that you have as an undergrad that you can then take with you to talk about in an interview or graduate school to say, I've done this project, I've done those internships. And that's why you're hearing some similar themes in terms of research or internship classes that you need to participate in or capstones.
Thanks, Heather. Actually, that triggered another question for me. Dr. Idle, are students able to do the capstone and internship in the same semester, or do they have to be in separate semesters?
Probably the most likely or most common way students do internships is during the summer. So if you think about a really great summer job where it's right in a field that you're interested in pursuing, then that's often the kind of internship opportunity our students are looking for. So that's done during the summer primarily. Some students will choose to do like a research project in conjunction or under the mentorship of a UH faculty member. And so that can count as their internship. And that's usually done a combination of during the semester as well as over the summer. The capstone course of the environmental problem solving and decision making, that's a regular semester class. So usually they're separated, but sometimes they'll overlap just depending upon the kind of experience that a student is engaged in.
Thank you so much, Dr. and Travis and Heather. That was very, very informative. And hopefully, Amy, do you think it could be on video?
Yes, so if any students need to access the video recording afterwards, just let me know. And we're getting it up on YouTube, hopefully by the end of the semester. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
it takes a while. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but this was so informative. Thank you,
Mhm.
panelists.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and always happy to chat with Leeward, any of the counselors from the other campuses about how to help prepare students who are interested in NREM, things they can do, things they can take to, so they can hit the ground running once they get here.
Mhm. Thank
Definitely.
you.
So we are here and available if you need us. And that's the great thing about Zoom. We're just, you know, button away. So thank you.
Heather and Dr. Ida, would you folks be able to add your contact information to the chat so if our students want to follow up, they can reach out to you? And then close.
Yeah, we'll do.
So thank you folks for attending this webinar series. We have one more for the rest of this semester. It's going to be in 2 weeks, April 27th, with food science, human nutrition, and kinesiology and rehabilitation sciences. Hope you folks can join us. And thank you again for watching. We'll stay on to the call, so if anybody has any more questions, feel free to ask.